Hey friends, today I'm going to share with you how to make some easy and delicious bread. It not only tastes amazing, but it can save you money too. Okay, so first things first, if you don't have a bread mixer or a KitchenAid, you can do this by hand. It's okay. You'll just use some extra arm strength and gain some extra muscle. So I have a KitchenAid, so I'm going to use my KitchenAid. Okay, so let's get started adding our ingredients. This recipe yields 2 loaves of bread. So I already have 3.5 cups of wheat flour in my mixer. I'm going to add another 3.5 cups, but this time it's of white flour. Get that in there. Then I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of yeast, or you can just do 1 tablespoon. It's the equivalent of each other. There's my yeast. And I'm also going to add a teaspoon of lemon juice. And I'm just going to mix this up a little bit. That way when I add my warm water, it's not going to go directly onto the yeast and potentially kill my yeast. So now I'm going to go and get 2¼ cups of warm, almost hot water to add to my bread. Okay, while I add the water, I'm going to have the mixer going. That way it just helps distribute the water more evenly and it starts to mix up. So here we go. Okay, I'm now going to add the sugar. It's 1/4 cup of sugar, and sugar is what helps feed the yeast. It helps the yeast to grow. And I'm also going to add 1/4 cup of oil. Just vegetable oil is fine. Now I'm going to mix this up a little bit. Now for my purposes, I don't want to mix it all the way yet. I want the yeast to have an opportunity to grow. So now it's going to sit for 10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes. I'm now going to add the salt. Now the salt does 2 different things. It not only enhances the flavor of the bread, but it also controls the yeast. So we're going to add 2½ teaspoons of salt. And now we're going to mix it for 7 minutes. And like I said before, if you don't have a mixer, you can just knead it for 7 minutes. And I'll show you the consistency that you want your bread after the 7 minutes or after you're done kneading it. Okay, it's been about 7 minutes, and this is the consistency that you want your dough. It should have taken all of the flour off the sides of the bowl, and when you push it, it kind of rebounds a little bit and it doesn't stick to your finger, but it still is a little bit sticky. So that's what you want your dough to look like. Okay, I greased my 2 loaf pans in preparation to put my loaves in it. What you're going to do is you're going to take the dough out of the bowl, or if you've been kneading it on the countertop, then you don't need to worry about taking it out of your bowl. So you have your dough, you're going to kind of want to round it up a little bit. And I prefer to use a serrated knife, and I kind of just eyeball about half. Cut it down the middle, and you want to create your 2 loaves. And then with each loaf, you're going to do the same thing again. You're going to kind of just fold the ends over and make the top look nice and smooth to get it ready to put into your loaf pan. So once you got it looking pretty good, stick one in. Doesn't have to be perfect. As it rises, it'll smooth out a little bit on the top too. There you go, stick it in. You're going to put your loaves of bread somewhere where it is typically warmer. There's not going to be any drafts. I like to put mine on top of my oven or on the stove top, and I preheat my oven to about 200 degrees so that underneath the bread it's nice and warm, and it helps the bread to rise just a little bit faster. You don't need to do that, but it does take a little bit of time off the rising process because it is going to sit here for a good while until it's risen almost to the loaf size of bread that you want. So now we're going to let these sit, and I cover them up with a towel so to keep in the warmth some more, and I'll talk to you when they're ready to go. Okay, the bread has risen enough. They almost look exactly like a loaf of bread now, but they still need to go into the oven. Once they start getting almost to the size, go ahead and preheat your oven so that it's ready when the bread is ready. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this into the oven, and I bake my bread for 23 minutes, and you want it to just be a nice golden brown color. I like my bread to be a little bit on the chewier side and not so dry, so a little bit moister. So I usually do about 23 minutes and go to take it out. Here is the bread finished. As you can see, it's just a nice light brown color. So once you bring them out, you need to immediately take them out of the pan. It should come out fairly easy. Okay, and then you're just going to let your bread cool until it just is warm to the touch. Once it's warm to the touch, that's when I bag my bread. That way it still has a little moisture in the bag that the bread can still absorb, but not enough moisture that you start to see beads show up on the inside of the bag. That'll be too much. So you just want a little steam still in there, and it'll help bring extra softness to your bread. Here we are with your homemade bread. It is so easy to make. It smells amazing in this kitchen right now. It only costs anywhere between 50 to 80 cents to make. So you're going to save your family money that way by not purchasing expensive bread that's comparable to this at the store. I'd love to hear from you with any comments you have, or if you have a recipe you'd like to share, go ahead and comment in the comments below, and we'll see you next time.